Goodness, goodness. Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. It is currently the 22nd of December and we're off work, finally. What a year it's been. For those of you who are, this may be your first video watching on the channel, my name's Connor. I own a commercial garden maintenance landscaping business in the Helensburgh area in the west of Scotland. I am 3 years into doing business. This is the end of 2023. I started planning in 2021. Business kind of got going in 2022. And I'm 24 years old. I started the business when I was 21. And I thought, since a lot of new folk to the channel, and most folk don't really know the story, but I thought I'd explain how I started, how I got to where I am now, my thoughts and feelings, the ups and downs. And I'm just going to go over kind of everything really. Obviously, since it's coming towards the end of the year, this time of year, I always start thinking about how my life's going, what could I be doing better, just reflecting back on a lot of things that have happened to me. I think it's good to look back, especially doing what I'm doing. And when you run a business and your life is so fast paced and you're always looking forward, it's nice to take a wee seat, take a trip down memory lane and look back as to how in the hell I got to this exact point. So I thought I'd explain that for you guys today. So I suppose I'll start where it began. Yeah, that makes sense. But I used to work in a garden maintenance landscaping company in Glasgow. I'll not reveal the name of the company because they were pretty horrendous, to be honest. Some people who I actually worked in that company with, I'm pretty sure still watch these videos and they'll know who they are. But I worked in this company for 8 months. I started there in early 2021 and as I mentioned, it was a pretty terribly run company and I was probably one of the hardest workers there, to be honest. Like, basically, they didn't do any background checks and most people who worked there were criminals, basically. And I was looked at as maybe one of the better ones just for bloody showing up. And like most people who showed up steaming or stoned or whatever. So it was a bit of a hectic place to work. And during my time working there, I remember just growing more and more frustrated at looking how these folk run this. And this is a company that turns over millions every year. And I was like, it just got me thinking the whole time I was there working with these folk, communicating. There were some good people in there. There were some nice people. But it was mostly full of folk that they weren't there to work. They looked at this job as a means to an end. Like, fuck this place. I'm going to do the least amount I can to get the most outcome. Seems like a lot of people, that's the way they look at work these days. But that's besides the point. But I was working in this company and I kept growing frustrated. So in the background, over the winter of 2021, I started planning out, I wonder if I could do this. I wonder if I could actually start a business and start actually getting customers and doing my own thing. So over the course of the winter time, I was speaking a lot to my parents about things, friends, to get everyone's thoughts on it. Some people in my life thought maybe not the best idea, saturated market, like, I don't know, whereas my parents were kind of like, I think you should give it a shot, mate. I think you should give it a shot. I'm pretty fortunate where my parents have always instilled in me from a kid to have this belief in myself. They've always kind of bigged me up and said that I can do anything I want. So I'm pretty fortunate to have had parents like that because that's where my self-assurance comes from. And you need that for doing things like this, because if you're not sure and you're the one doing all of this, you're fucked. You're fucked if it's not going to work out if you don't have your self-assurance to keep you going through all the crap that's gonna come. And the crap will come. I learned that the hard way. I naively went into this thinking this will be hard. Of course it'll be hard, first few years will be hard, but it's fine because you're Connor and you'll get it done. And granted, we're here now, we'll get to that, but I was naive as to just how difficult it would be, how nuanced the problems would be, and just how much crap I'd have to go through. But anyways, my parents gave me some money just to get me going, just to get a wee van, get all the tools I need. And again, I'm pretty fortunate to be able that to happen to me. Not everyone has that by any means, and I'm lucky that they trusted me enough in order to go, there you go, I think we'll get it done. I think you'll get it done. So I got the money, I went out and bought my first van, got all the bare minimum tools that I needed, and I started advertising, made my brands, Munro's Maintenance, and it was just me, just the van, and I was just doing my best to get by. I think in the first year, I can't even remember how much I made, but it was probably like 20 grand or something. It wasn't that much money, obviously. And like, I'm still trying to learn to do the job at this point. Like, I'd only been working in garden maintenance like a couple years before this, over the course of my life, just here and there with random people or whatever. But I just thought I could get it done. I was like, oh, simple enough, cutting grass and all that. But obviously, I always went into it knowing that I was going to try get as good as possible. Always trying to improve things. Always trying to make things better. Always trying to learn. Always trying to learn. So when I was doing it, I made like 20 grand maybe my first year. And I remember going into the winter time and my van had a massive gearbox issue. I know it had its gearbox reconditioned. I was like, oh, cool. So it went okay during the summer. And I'd saved up like 4.5, 5 grand for the winter time to get me through. And in November, I got a 2.5 grand bill for my gearbox in my van. And it turned out as well, didn't know this at the time, but it wasn't fixed properly. And I had another issue again with it. And all my money was basically gone that I'd saved to survive in the winter. My mate who I was living with at the time, he moved out and I had to take up his side of the rent and I couldn't afford it. So then I ended up living in my mate's spare bedroom during the winter of my first year in business, and I felt massively defeated. Massively defeated. I remember going around talking to everyone going, I'm done. I'm just gonna sell everything, call it quits, and I'm just gonna get a job because like this ain't it. This ain't it. Even though I'd had my wee wins over the season, I'd made like over 20 grand, like it's pretty good, and I was pretty proud of myself, but at that point, I just felt so fucked and like I'd gone so backwards. And yeah, I just felt like I'm just done with this. I'm done with the stress. And in the background, you don't realise all this, but like your personal relationships take a toll because I'm stressed all the time, trying to figure out how to do jobs, figuring out how to price things, underpricing things, not making enough money. Like there was just these huge learning curves in your first year and all these problems that come up that you just never would have thought, but you can't think about them because you don't know these problems exist until you just start going through all these motions. But that year one, even though I knew it was going to be tough, it was way tougher than I thought. So I was about to chuck it. And I remember having that kind of final conversation with my dad. He was kind of one of the last ones I spoke to. I was like, what do you think I do? I think I'm going to do this. I'm going to get a job, blah, blah, blah. And the gist of it was basically like, don't be a pussy, son. Here's an extra grand or so just to get you through the winter. Get another van sword, sell this piece of garbage that you've got, get another van sword and take another crack at it, So thankfully I listened to him, despite like genuinely not really wanting to continue. I listened to him and we went into year 2. I got another van sorted. I started the season again. I actually had to downgrade my van because I had no money. Like no one wants to buy a van with a shitty gearbox. So I lost so much money on the first van. And I had to downgrade my second van to the van that I've currently got right now. So like a 2013 Vivaro. And then I just started cracking on with the season. I got better at my job. I priced myself more competitively, started making a bit more money every day. But still running into problems, still dealing with challenges, learned how to do the job, getting better. But that year was way more successful. I made way more money. There was a lot more wins. But again, in the background, you're always balancing this like line between working too much, putting so much into it, being that guy, and your relationship's taking a toll, and like not seeing your friends as much, and giving up weekends to work overtime because you didn't price the job properly and you have to go finish it. And like there were so many times like that, and it put so much strain on my life. You always wonder, is this worth it? Like, and especially when you're not making like great money. I was making more money than year one. You're still not making tons of money. You're still always buying tools. You're always fixing things. You're still making mistakes and have to pay for those mistakes and make things right with people. So yeah, it was like year 2 was certainly better, but it was still tough in itself. And I'm not saying this to have the whole, throw me a wee pity party. It's just the nature of it is. I try to be as honest as possible and transparent with these things because that's what I like. I like watching content where you kind of get the real world view of what's going on here. And I'm sure a lot of you who are watching this are probably business owners and can relate as to what I'm speaking about. Like, you just don't know till you know. And it sucks. But the one thing that those first 2 years taught me was just being comfortable with being uncomfortable. Like getting so used to discomfort that you just get so numb to it and you just pap it off. Like that's one thing that really helps with your life is you have these big problems that you're always trying to solve, then it makes all these other wee problems like meaningless. Like it actually, in the long run, has made me so much more calm, more confident, more competent at just dealing with so many day-to-day problems that I would have like been stressed to the tits over. But because I've already stressed about it in the past, gotten over it, improved from it, it's like nothing to me now. It's like absolutely nothing to me now. And that's why your threshold for how much you can deal with and how much you can tolerate goes up every single year. Like the Connor I am now compared to that 21-year-old Connor, I'm 24 right now, obviously, but the amount you've forced yourself to grow, what I can do and what I can tolerate now is just so much more than back then. And that's why the business has grown, because I've purposely put myself in positions to just deal with the discomfort right there and then. You have no other choice. You either deal with it or everything goes under. And it's a lot of pressure to have on you. But as I say, I feel like I felt like I was one of those people that could deal with it and get through it and grow and just learn the hard lessons that needed to be learned. So year two was tough, but then towards the end of year two, Brody came into the picture. And obviously you guys know Brody on the channel if you've been watching the videos. Brody's my employee, but Brody was originally my ex-girlfriend's brother. That's how I know Brody. He came into my life through that, and it just turned out that we got along very, very well. During this whole time of me doing my business, Brody was kind of drifting about, doing jobs here and there. He lived up in Skye for a certain point of time, and in November last year, he came back from Skye. He was looking for a job, and I was like, look, I think next year I might need an employee. I think maybe, like, if you're interested, you could maybe join me and I'll formally employ you and I'll just take the chance. I didn't fully know if I was going to have enough work to get on with it, but because things were starting to catch fire, I was getting better at my job. I only done good jobs. Like, hand on heart, I've not left any jobs, especially recently, where I've went, oh, I could have done better on that, or I messed up there and I should have done this, I should have done that. I always try to do the best that I can and leave as good an impression as I can, keep communication high, and just run a good business. Obviously, it's insanely difficult to do, but that's why not many people do it, and that's why not many people succeed, I guess. But that's what I've always tried to do. So I just knew that, like in year two, I'd met enough people that I thought it was going to exponentially grow, and I employed him, took a chance. He started working for me full time in kind of March. And I was right. It just took right off. I had enough work to support us both. And that's what's led us on to this year, year three, where Brody's working for me and things went crazy. Like, I can't even believe the difference of how exponential it did actually grow. We probably times forwards the amount of money I was making by myself now having Brody. But that only happens because I became more efficient. I spotted ways we can make more money. I raised the standard of my work. I've done extra things in the background to allow me to make more money per day. I became an efficiency god and a planning god. And when Brody joined, he was like the kick up the arse to make me really go, holy shit, he now relies on you for everything. All of his money, his livelihood, all comes from you. And if you don't get the work in, he's fucked. And it just changed my outlook on it all. Like, because when I was by myself, I'd have days where I couldn't be bothered, and I'd patch something off, or I'd change a schedule for an extra day off here, or go, oh, I can't be bothered in that today, I'll just do it tomorrow. But like when he joined, something just flicked in my brain where I just went, nah, you're like a proper businessman now, or whatever the hell you want to call it. And he was really this kind of thing that made me up who I am and up my game and grow into the person that you see in front of you right now. So this year has went so phenomenally well. Like, it's just, I've been able to buy so many more tools. I've got the storage unit sorted this year. I got the trailer sorted this year. I've developed my schedule. I've refined the way I like to do things. And now we're sat at the end of 2024, and I'm just so happy and grateful for the position I'm in. I'm so happy for the customers that I know who I've came across and have gave me these opportunities, and it's just been mental. It's been such a ride. Like, that's why I choose to sit down and have these conversations and think back, like, to how brutal and shit that first couple of years was, especially year one. Like, I've never put myself through so much garbage in my life, and it does make me think now, because, you guys obviously don't know all the personal things that go on with me behind the scenes, but it's not plain sailing. Like my life has actually changed a lot recently, for better or worse. And you're always, at least me, I can always work more and do more and build a business and put more time into it. But you're always in this constant battle of the finding the balance in your life. I always question if I could have done more with my personal relationships, girlfriends, friends, family. Like, you're always sacrificing time with them and being selfish to grow this thing because I have my goals. This is what makes me tick now. I love what I do. I absolutely love what I do. I hate it when I started, but I've thankfully grown to love it and found gratitude in everything that I do, and I appreciate everything I do. But it's came at a cost of a lot of things. So I always question if this is what I should be doing. I don't think anyone should live to work by any means, but I'm always going to be questioning whether I'm doing the right thing. And on the outside looking in, it's amazing. This is insane to say this, but like when I go out or whatever, and I go to the pub the odd time and people come up to me, like maybe people I used to know or people I know in past, and they're like, "Oh mate, it's insane what you've done. Like you're doing so well," and it makes me feel amazing. It makes me feel amazing. But like most people obviously just don't know all the garbage that has came with this, all the things that I've lost along the way, all the time I've given. Like even right now, filming these videos, sitting down, talking. Like I don't get paid for any of this. This is all comes from me. Like it's me that makes all of this happen. So it can be overwhelming. It can be stressful, but that's why it's rewarding. That's why it feels so good. Like I've gotten so used to loving delayed gratification. If that's one thing to note, is it's delayed gratification. You really better get used to that idea, because the long-term wins, like you get all your wee wins in between, but it's only every now and then where you stop and you go, fucking hell, Connor, like, I can't believe you've done this, mate. Like one of those times this year was I had Brody and my friend Kyle out, and we're all cutting grass. And I think it was like the most money I'd ever made in a day, like cutting grass and things like that. And that wasn't the main reason why I was so happy, but I remember we finished in Kilcreggan. I was looking down this view of the guys in the lawnmowers, and I was just looking at them working, and I was like, I can't believe I've gotten to this point. And I felt this rush of just appreciation for doubling down into the misery and being that guy that gets things done. I've always said to folk, like, if nothing else, I just want to be known as a guy that said he was going to do what he was going to do. Like, I just want to be honest, and I don't want to ever be a hypocrite, and I just want to be the guy that says, oh, see Connor, he says he's going to do that, and he does it. Because I don't know what it is, that just makes me feel insane, being that kind of person. I want to be that kind of person, And I guess it kind of taps into like courageousness, like whenever I meet someone who I find quite courageous, it rubs off on people. So I try to replicate that as much as I can and kind of follow that pattern. But it's delayed gratification. It's so worth it. Like sitting here in this seat right now, I'm just immensely thankful for trusting myself, having my family trust me, giving that money to help me get going. And it's made me super excited for the future. So I guess, leading on, what does the future hold for my business? Well, to be honest, I don't know what the future holds. I've thought about it, and I always think about how much I want to grow. How far do I want to take Munro's Maintenance? I got an employee right now, and I follow other people online, like some of you might know Ben Morrison up in Inverness, and he's 22 years old, and he's got like 5 vans in the road, a whole team of guys, and I'm like, man, like I feel like my life's hard. I couldn't imagine being that guy. Like it's insane what people like him can do and what they are doing. So I always think like, where do I want to take this? What's your goals for 2025, Connor? And I think roughly, I want to get a new van swords. I want to buy new tools. Of course, addicted to buying tools, but tools to make the business grow, take on more jobs. And I think next year will be another year of refining the process, finding efficiencies, getting a new van, getting some new tools, and maybe getting another employee. I've still not decided on that yet, but I just don't want to grow too quickly, because I've grown so much this year, and it's been overwhelming at times and came at the cost of certain things, as I was saying. So I just don't want to grow too quickly and just get a bit overburdened by what's going on. As I say, no one should live to work. Although I love what I do, this is work. If we didn't live in this capitalistic society and we all needed to make money, I probably wouldn't be doing this, to be honest. You know, like the main reason this happened was because I was skint and I couldn't afford to live. And I was like, I'm just going to take a chance on myself. And I always want to make sure I enjoy this. As long as I'm doing this, I want to make sure I enjoy it. So we'll grow next year, refine the processes. We'll see where we end up. But I appreciate all you guys for tuning in. By all means, if you are a business owner, you do the same as me, and you're watching this video and you've made it this far, please leave a comment below on your thoughts and feelings towards this whole thing. Like, how have you coped with all this? Put some advice, some words of wisdom. I always appreciate reading certain things. And, you know, the channel's grown as well. Obviously, Brody's been editing videos for me. I'll probably edit this one right enough. But Brody's been editing videos for me. I'm lucky enough where he does that for me. And I want to grow the YouTube, of course. I want to grow my socials. But as I say, there's only so much time in the day. So we'll see how we get on. But the views are going up. We're gaining subscribers. Nothing serious, you know. It is what it is. But I enjoy making the videos. And at the worst, even if no one watches these things, I can look back at me, say I'm 40 years old with my Waynes or whatever, and I can see exactly what 24-year-old Connor was like, sat here in this crappy flat, trying to make his business get somewhere, you know. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I'll leave you with a wee quote, one of my personal favourites. What got you here probably won't get you there. And to me, that just means you need to keep learning, keep growing, keep looking back, and keep getting better at what you're doing. You know, if you are sitting there pondering something and you think you want to take a shot on something, fucking go for it. Fucking go for it. Just know it comes with a lot of shit, a lot of perseverance, but a lot of rewards. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, and we'll be back to normal Munro's maintenance in the new year. But I hope everyone has a good Christmas and a fantastic next year. And if you got some goals, make sure you just get after them. You will be dead before you know it. So I appreciate you all, and we'll see you next year.